What's going on, everybody? It's your friend Young Dev Domalino here, the synthesizer of opinions, back with another video, back with another review. But we're doing things a little bit different today because I am officially dropping the 6. The 6 in the 5, 4, 3, 2 is no more because I don't want to limit myself to just 6-minute videos. So from here on forward, we're going to keep that 5, 4, 3, 2 review format, but they could be 6 minutes, they could be shorter, they could be longer. So the 5, 4, 3, 2 format means 5 things to know about the album and the artist, 4 favorite tracks on the album, 3 adjectives I have to describe the album, and 2 potential ratings to give the album at the end of the review. Is it hot or is it not? Is it big gas or is it shit ass? And 5 things to know about Tyler, the Creator, starts with the fact that this is his 6th studio album. It's 38 minutes long, it's 11 tracks, and it's titled IGOR. As of right now, I don't really have much of an idea as to the inspiration behind Tyler's new character, besides the fact that he's officially a sick bitch on this album, airing out his X-Man shit. But what I do know about Tyler in general is that he can get a lot done under the narrative of an alter ego. And just like Wolf, just like Ace, Igor is sort of an obsessive character type, at least as the lyrics on these songs will portray him as. It's become pretty evident to me that Tyler likes to live vicariously through these characters that are typically a little bit more hyperbolic and just cartoonish, because that's how Tyler's mind works. And I wouldn't be surprised if Igor is the vehicle that Tyler's childlike spirit is using to cope with some of the complexities of being in a really important romantic relationship at this stage in his life. Tyler is a lot of things, and from the very beginning, he's really ADD, so it makes sense that he kind of has to have an out-of-body experience to keep creating these totally new musical experiences the way that he's done time and time again. The last thing that you may need to know, there are a lot of features, but none of them are on the track listing, a lot of them are uncredited, and most of them are just deployed in like a really sneaky way. And so it's kind of hard to hear Lil Uzi Vert on the very first song, Igor's Theme. That one I completely missed and had to look up. But the list of people who are on this album follow as such: Kanye West, Pharrell, Santigold, Lil Uzi Vert, Playboi Carti, Slow Tie, who just dropped his album, and Solange. Let's get to my 4 favorite tracks. Starting with my 4th favorite, it's I Think. And I think that this drum sample at the beginning of the song has a very vintage tinge to it. It reminds me a lot of the Danny Brown Atrocity Exhibition Dancing in the Water drum sample that kicks in at the beginning of that song. This song has one of the best grooves and melodies to it. This sounds like Igor's attempt at making like a Nelly Furtado song, which I love. Next at number 3 is Running Out of Time, Running Out of Time, Running Out of Time to make you love me. Second favorite song on the album is Earthquake, Earthquake. This is one of the pseudo singles for the album, first song to get a full music video treatment. And this song, surprisingly enough, has a Playboi Carti verse. It was amazing. I loved it. It was perfectly placed, but I never saw it coming. And again, a perfect example of a pre-hook at the beginning of the song, selling the song almost instantaneously. So for me, I was sold almost as soon as I heard, for real, for real, for real this time. Again, kind of an adaptation of something he was starting to do more of on Flower Boy. 2020, 2020 vision. And again, it's just a great way to start a song. It sets a tone for that song and almost instantaneously feels catchy, feels sweet, feels whatever it is Tyler is trying to get you to feel. My favorite song on the album was decided pretty early on and by a pretty decent margin. A Boy Is a Gun headlines a certain feature about Igor that I think is pretty good in comparison to all the rest of the albums in Tyler's discography. And that is that the sampling on this album is a major component to the instrumentation, and it's one of my favorite parts about the album. Where Flower Boy was more grand and organic, Igor seems to have more of a cut and paste ideology behind its instrumentation and even its aesthetic. I mean, if you're looking at the album cover, it's clear it's like this pink background with Tyler sort of cut roughly around the edges and then pasted onto whatever that pink background is. That really reminds me of some of the sampling on this album because it's choppy. It's not mixed entirely down to feel seamless throughout the records like some of his other sampling on other records may have been. And Tyler's portrayal of the relationship he talks about at length through this character Igor is done the best on this song as well. I love the title of the song, A Boy is a Gun, and what exactly that can mean to Tyler I have yet to fully understand. So on the very thing that makes this album so different from the rest of the albums that came before it, this song exploits or represents that feature the very, very best. And that's why I think it ended up being my favorite. 3 adjectives that I had to describe the album Igor starts with conflicted and or bittersweet. The way Tyler makes a song sound and the way that he talks about the topic don't always match up, and they manage to give you this feeling of bittersweet, of the good and the bad of a given situation. Tyler is getting really good at getting across an emotion or a feeling or an idea just through his instrumentation and arrangement of a song. And with so much of Igor sounding cut from the same cloth, sounding in the same headspace, it's pretty clear that the idea of bittersweet is supposed to dominate like the essence of this album. But he strikes that balance or something close to it like on every single track. And Igor is also very lush. And I think that's mostly because lush is a great way to describe this Flower Boy, post-Flower Boy sound that he is continuing to develop. And lastly, this album is one of one. One of one amongst Tyler, the Creator's discography. Because if you follow the man on Instagram or on Twitter, you probably saw he was really adamant about this album not being like Cherry Bomb or like Goblin or like Wolf or any of the other projects he's done up until this point. And while I was suspicious that he would actually make that distinct of a project, that's exactly what he did. I'm pretty blown away that he is genuinely making music that I don't have to or necessarily want to compare to the rest of his albums. Sure, this thing is comparable to Flower Boy in some ways because, you know, this album couldn't happen without Flower Boy. But even then, these albums really are nothing alike. And that is kind of the genius of Tyler, the Creator. So, hot or not rating, Tyler's on a roll. This thing is hot as F. And this is really one of Tyler's best, if not his best. If I had to rank his discography, which I did on the New Music Monday podcast episode 4, which you can check out, it'll be out when this video is out. Bastard at number 6, Goblin at number 5, Cherry Bomb at number 4, I think I switched that, with Wolf at number 3, Flower Boy at number 2, and Igor is Tyler's best album to date. What do you think? Drop your discography rating down in the comments below. Drop 4 favorite songs, 3 adjectives, hot or not rating down below. Anything I missed about the album, you tell me. And that's going to be it for me today. I have been Dev Demolino. You have been so wonderful watching as always. And remember, art without favor is like a windmill without wind. Dev Demolino, holla at ya boy.